we're going to be drawing a neuron right here, and you're just going to do exactly how I'm drawing it. So to start, this is just a cell in the nervous system. The cell part looks kind of normal. Has a nucleus, and we call this listening to other brain cells. In fact, it can pick up the messages that 10,000 cells are trying to tell this cell. So that'd be like a mom being able to listen to 10,000 children all at the same time and actually understand what they're saying. So this little cell is super capable. Those messages up are called dendrites. So they're picking up to 10,000 messages, and when they get into the dendrites, it never goes the other way. And at this point, the message is electrical. So it's shooting down the cell as electricity with ions that are positive and negative electrical pulses shoot down the cell. So it goes into the dendrites, to the cell body, and then it shoots down this tail called the axon. And then it ends at axon tips. And so from here to here, our message is electrical. At that point, we need to jump to the next cell. So this is one neuron. Let's add the axon tips. You don't have to do this, but I'm just going to note that from the dendrites to the cell body, through the axon and to the axon tips, the message is electrical. When I say the message, I'm talking about a thought or a feeling or something you saw or something you heard. Whatever message is going into your brain is electrical, which is why it's not going to be struck by lightning. And just like electrical, like wires, in order for the message to help speed the message up. And it's just a little wrap around the axon, just like a wrap around a wire. Is called, I call it the fat wrap. I sell these at Hotel Cell. And you might remember this, 7th graders, a little bit from last year. This fat wrap is called myelinated sheath. Myelinated sheath. And so if you want something to use with your parents at home to get more brownies or whatever, you could say, Mom, Dad, I need some brownies. I need to wrap my neurons in myelinated sheath. So you need some more fat in your diet. And that helps speed up the thought. It also helps the thought from shooting, sideways in every which way into other cells. So it starts at the dendrites, goes into the cell body, goes down the axon, and ends up here at the axon tips, where it is going to meet another neuron with dendrites. But they don't touch. Right? And there's a tail there and everything. And it just keeps going. So this is another neuron. Another cell body, another dendrites. This space from here to here is super important. So from here to here, the message is no longer electrical. And you have chemicals in your body. You get some colors. That are gonna, so let's say it's sadness, right? Or let's say it's fear, or let's say it's excitement, or whatever it is. The message has to jump from here to here. And it does that. The axon tips comes this chemical. And these are transmitting the message from here to here, and so they have a good name. They're neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters. That is the chemical part of all of this. These are chemicals like serotonin, epinephrine, which is a hormone. Let's see, dopamine, endorphins, feel-good chemicals, all sorts of stuff. Like when you eat chocolate, you get a whole big group of dopamine that comes out right here. It makes you really happy. You can cause these chemicals to come out by exercising, eating chocolate, getting a hug. You can cause it to happen to other people, other things. Like you can pet your cat and cause them to have like positive neurotransmitters. Transmitters get released right here. So this space right here, where one cell is not touching the next, but the chemicals are coming out to go from this cell to that cell, is called a synapse. And maybe you've heard of that word before, but this place is a synapse. And, you know, one of the things that can happen in your brain is that you aren't making enough of these happy juices, which is what can cause depression. And that can either be by situational depression, like something happens in your life and you feel, you know, really sad about it, or it can just happen just because. And when that happens, you're not making enough of these chemicals right here. You literally put this in a cup. These are like happy chemicals. So if you don't make enough, it's all dried up in here and you feel bad. And then, like, maybe you fall in love, and then it gets extra juicy, and you feel great. Antidepressant, depression medicines, and they are called selective serotonin. So serotonin is one of your happy chemicals, and that medicine for people with depression blocks the next cell from sucking all the happy juices up too quickly. And so you get a juicier synapse and you feel happier. And we can talk more about that later. So we have these labels: dendrites, cell body, axon, axon tips. It's electrical. The synapse, where you'd find a neurotransmitter, and that's where it's chemical. And then, of course, your myelinated sheath, which is your fat wrap. All right, so we're going to stop there. And then on this agenda, it tells you that you're going to do two things. Number one, you're going to get a green shark book, which looks like this. Has a shark on it. It's green. You're going to go to page 607, and I'll write this down. And you're going to be filling out in your binder this yellow paper. So starting on page 607 in the shark book, the titles match. So the central nervous system, the central nervous system. It's going to talk about the brain, and if I turn the page, it talks about the brain, and it talks about the parts of the brain. It'll talk a little bit about, at the bottom, your spinal cord, which if I keep going in the book, that's at the top of 610. And then it'll talk about the peripheral nervous system, which is 610. Through somatic and autonomic, that's 611. Autonomic happens automatically, like your heartbeat. Your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems are autonomic. Somatic, you have control over those. That's like me choosing to use my pen to write. And a little bit about reflexes. You're going to draw a neuron, a really big one. So it goes on and on and on and on. It's a big white piece of paper. I'll show you a student who did theirs a few years ago. She drew the dendrites, the cell body, axon, myelinated sheath, axon tips. She noted that it's electrical, and that she noted where it turns chemical and how it's about to jump into another cell. She noted the neurotransmitters. She named it that. Another example is on my floor down here, where a student did a huge one, and you can see it goes all the way over there, but it's the same sort of thing. You are going to be bedazzling it. I can't get this to work. Sorry. But we'll do that bedazzle part later. And you're going to start drawing that.